Hello, my name is Dr. Cerrone Foster, and I am faculty in the Department of Biological Sciences at East Tennessee State University. Today I'm going to talk to you about why study biology, and particularly why study biology at ETSU. And so here I'll begin with just giving you some general information about the department. Here's our departmental address, phone number, and fax information if you want to know more information about the department. So why study biology at ETSU? Just in general, we have 18 full-time faculty, 2 lecturers, and we also have a diversity of specialty backgrounds, and those backgrounds include areas in plant, biochemistry. We have a really good field experience component of our program. We also have individuals that are studying population as well as things at the ecological level, and I'll explain more about these particular backgrounds in a few minutes. In addition to that, why study biology at ETSU? With the exception of the first 2 classes, introductory classes, biology 1 and 2, our class size is very, very, very small, maybe about sometimes 30, and in some classes you have about 75 students. But even at that large class size, our faculty get to know the students quite well and engage with them even at the level of research. In addition to that, the teaching and the research. And so I want to talk a little bit about that in your experience here. In our department, we value education, and we also value students learning skill sets that are going to prepare them not just while they're here at college, but to prepare them for their careers in science. Skill sets such as being able to interpret data, critically think about that data, writing. Writing becomes very important, being able to write your scientific results. And many of our students go on to publish papers after conducting research during the academic year. Other questions or other skill sets that we want our students to have is that we want our students to be able to think about science, develop new questions, hypotheses, be able to see where biology intersects with many other fields such as physics and chemistry, even math. And I'll talk about a program that we have in our department where those 2 collide, where biology and math meet. This is also incorporated into the classroom setting. And so you don't just get this experience if you're conducting or interacting in research as an undergraduate student, but our instructors are very, very, very adamant about training our students in the classroom with these skill sets to better prepare them for when they go out into the research lab and in their careers in science. And so here's just a quick picture of some faculty enjoying the wildlife and the field experience of biology. Pretty cool, isn't it? And so what can I do with a biology degree? Many students say, well, after I graduate, what can I do? And the paths are limitless. There's several things that you can do, and also that these paths collide or intersect with one another. And I'll show you sort of some of the ways in which our curriculum is designed to be sure that our students get a variety in their courses and in their training to prepare them for these fields. And so what we have here is one is going to be a health professional. Many students go into a pharmacy, medical school, physician assistant, or physical therapy that major in biology. You can be a science teacher. We have a secondary ed concentration, which I'll talk about in a bit. You can be a college professor. Many students go on to earn masters and teach at the community college level or small four-year institutions. And many of our students go on to obtain PhDs and become academic researchers as well as teaching faculty. You can be a park ranger, a naturalist, and this is a person who would study more of the environmental, ecological aspects of biology, a biochemist, or you can work in government. And many of these intersect, and you can see that the health professional will work with the biochemist in the discovery of disease and treatment. The health profession, the biochemist can also work with the naturalist. If you have an outbreak of a particular disease, for the health professionals, they want to be able to know more information. Well, we would need our ecologists and field biologists to be able to give us more information about the environment and other factors that could be affecting the outbreak. Individuals who are in government dealing with this would need to have a good biology background in understanding an outbreak or a crisis that has happened. And so all of these individuals will work together. We definitely need our science teachers and our college professors to be able to train those individuals for these respective careers. Research. Our department has a wonderful program in research. As you can see here, that one of the things that we have is a research experience for undergraduate students, and it's REU. And these students come over the summer and they spend a couple of weeks or a couple of months rather during the summer working on a research project, and they have the opportunity to present those results in a research symposium. Our undergraduate research in the Department of Biological Sciences, there's a course that we have, Biology 2992, Research Orientation, to help prepare students for this research experience. And here's a program that I mentioned earlier entitled CRAWL, Collaborative Research on the Arthropod Way of Life. I love this title. Students in this particular program work over the summer, and a stipend is also provided for students for working over the summer. And that these students in this particular program, this is a collaboration between math and biology, where you can have students with a quantitative background learn how to apply that to biological concepts, specifically with respect to arthropods. And those individuals who have a biology background learn the quantitative aspects of being able to apply biology. So it's a really nice fusion of those two topics and an interdisciplinary nature of those two disciplines. So here is just a really great figure of a particular student. She's gone on to medical school, but she was a student in the REU, or the Research Education Undergraduate Experience, the research experience for undergraduate students. Here you can also see there's another student working out in the field with another professor. And so students who are interested in doing academic research, we have several different options. One, you can do research over the academic year term, or that you can also do a 9-week summer experience. Participate in these experiences in your sophomore or junior year. There's a course that you can take for credit, just called Research Orientation. During the spring semester of your senior year, you get to take a course, Research in Biology, and you get credit for the research that you're doing throughout the semester. In addition to that, those students who are participating in a senior thesis, it's another course that you can take to earn credit, as well as a seminar in biology. In all these particular courses, the students learn additional information regarding developing scientific hypotheses, developing your methods, writing a research paper, all the components that are necessary to be successful in a research laboratory. In addition to that, it's a wonderful way to get hands-on training and hands-on experience in the lab to be able to further apply that to your respective scientific career. And I'll just give a quick example. When I was an undergraduate student, I participated in an undergraduate research experience, and it wasn't until I began that actual experience that the biology began to click. And it was just a wonderful way to see what I was learning in my textbook come to life and just be applied in real life, real world experiences. And so I truly and highly encourage students to get involved in research. It's a wonderful learning opportunity. And so here's another aspect of our research. We have several faculty in our department that study plants, specifically plant diseases. We have other faculty that study plant biochemistry, lipid metabolism in plants, antioxidants, protein pathways in several different plants. And so here's a particular faculty research of looking at kind of a pathogen and a host response in a plant cell. We also have faculty that study, as I mentioned earlier with that CRAWL program, arthropods. We have some faculty that study circadian rhythms of the neurobiology of honeybees. And we also have some individuals who study reptiles and developmental biology. So what's the undergraduate program like? I'm going to do just a quick overview of some of the courses, and don't worry about trying to memorize all the different courses and mapping out a plan. But I do want to give you an overview and be able to show where some pathways intersect, but how the concentrations are very different, and then highlight a few courses from my department in the program. And so you have a standard biology major where a minor is required. Then you have one where the minor is not required, and I'll talk about what a minor is in a bit. You have a biochemistry concentration, and then we have a secondary education track where these individuals go on to teach in high school. So here's the biology core, and as you can see that we have 3 major lecture courses in the biology 1, 2, and 3 sequence with a laboratory attached. And then we have a general genetics course that's required. Typically, students come in their freshman year, they take biology 1 in the fall and biology 2 in the spring. And then the first semester or fall semester of the sophomore year, they go on to take biology 3. Biology 1 is more of the cell molecular aspect of biology, and then biology 2 is organismal. And so we do discuss the diversity or the array of organisms in biology 2, as well as with a plant focus. Biology 3 is more population, involving some ecology as well. And then general genetics, which is not in the biology 1, 2, and 3 sequence, but it's also a part of the core. These classes are absolutely necessary for you to progress on as a biology major. Also, if you decide to have a minor in biology, so let's say you are majoring in chemistry or majoring in another department, but you still want to have a focus or some background in biology, these courses and components are necessary, included in the minor as well as an additional course. And so what we have, our program is sort of unique in where we have biology menu options. And what does this mean? You kind of think, well, when I go to a diner or go somewhere to eat, I have a menu and I have different things that I can choose and select from. And that's sort of the way that this works. But we've sort of narrowed down your choices for you, where we have the menu divided into 4 different classes. So the first class is going to be the molecular component. So under this molecular menu, we have several different courses that our students can choose from. However, you have to choose one major course, and I gave an example, let's say cell biology, but in addition to that, you also have to choose a lab component, and let's just say biochemistry of macromolecules lab. Some students take the cell biology as well as the cell biology lab. You just need to take one lecture course as well as an associated lab. And so why have these different menus? Well, the molecular menu will study things at the cellular level. And when we think about the hierarchy of life, you start off at the cellular level and you move up to the organismal level. And then from the organismal level, you move up to be able to then study things at the population level. And when I talk about organismal level, I'm talking about the entire individual or the entire organism. And you see how these things bridge together. So starting at the cellular level, you want to look at the proteins, the macromolecules, how things are, the biochemistry, how things are connecting, reactions that are happening inside the cell. And that once you do that, you say, well, how are those things affecting the whole individual or the whole organism? And then when you look at that entire organism, different organisms interact. It's just not humans that live in the world. We interact with arthropods. We interact with amphibians. We interact with all different types of organisms in this particular world. And that is what makes the world the way that it is. And so then we want to then be able to study things at the population level and to see how organisms interact with each other. And then how does the environment influence the behavior of those organisms as well? We have great people in the department studying that as well. The next option on the menu after discussing that is the organismal. And here you just need to choose one option from this menu. And as you can see, here is plant physiology, and I mentioned before that we do have individuals studying plant biochemistry. The individuals who are perhaps interested in the crawl program, we have an arachnology course as well. We have a neurobiology course, but you can specifically see here that all these courses deal with various types of organisms. Then at the population level, and so I mentioned that the molecular level is very important, as it is the beginning foundation and foundational unit for the cell. Then as we work our way up, we begin to look at how the things at the molecular level would in turn affect the organismal level. But then we want to be able to see how is it that all the organisms listed here under this menu began to then come together and interact and collide at the population level. And so then we have a class, particularly in population genetics. You look to see, how different alleles or genes are affected and interact within a population. We have a biological modeling systems class. We have an evolution class. So we have several different classes to study the behavior of organisms at the population level. And then last, we have a biodiversity class. And so here is a really good appreciation, as the menu mentions, for the diversity, things that are different, things that are the same, and how these differences and similarities, come together and give the world and the field of biology its uniqueness. And you can see, again, here are several classes that do fall under this component and that fit under biodiversity. So let's quickly review the standard track. Under the standard track, or all the tracks that I'm going to mention, the core class is required, as well as selecting courses from this particular menu. And I will definitely make a distinction when those menu options of what you can or need to take differ. So in addition to those two things that I mentioned, students will have to take courses that are not in the biology program, and here would be your general chemistry, organic chemistry, and you also have to take physics, and you can see the courses that are necessary for physics. A math component is needed, it's one or the other. In addition to that, you need to take biology elective, just 2 to 6 credit hours, and this is just maybe 1 or 2 additional courses offered by the department. And then here is where the minor is required, and a minor could be in courses such as psychology or a foreign language, but just some additional courses, 18 to 24 credit hours, and depending on what those credits are, that can range from 6 all the way up to maybe 8 additional courses in that particular field. So there's also another biology track or concentration where no minor is required. And so it's the same standard track that I've mentioned. However, those credits that would go towards a biology minor, you would take those credits and then they would be biology electives. So for concentration in biochemistry, here's where the options differ. You have to take one course from 2 of the following advanced biology areas. So under the organismal menu, the population menu, or the biodiversity, you have to take course, for instance, 1 course in organismal and 1 course in population, or 1 course in population and 1 course in biodiversity. However, you can see how this is different from the previous track, the standard track, where you had to take a particular course under each of the menus. Here you don't. However, here's where it differs. So in addition to just taking your general chemistry and organic chemistry, for the biochemistry concentration, there are some additional chemistry courses that are actually necessary. Here are the physics courses that you need to take. You specifically need to take calculus, and so you don't have an option here. And then here, you're required to take, of course, genetics laboratory and the biochemistry laboratory and metabolism. And if you notice, these biochemistry courses fall under the molecular menu. So here it's why the molecular menu is not necessary up here, because you will take those courses there. And then here are some additional courses that you also need to take. For the secondary education track, the minor, that you saw in the standard track, your minor would be in secondary education. Also, you have to have concentration within biology. You have the 36 credit hours of biology, but then again, as I mentioned, you have the minor, and then you have some additional requirements that are necessary to be able to move forward to teach in the secondary education level. And so last, I want to talk about our graduate program. After completing your Bachelor of Science degree here, we would love to have you as graduate students. And we do have several students who have graduated from our program that decided to stay and work on a master's in our program, and that we also now have a new program that allows students to earn a PhD in biomedical sciences. And I'll talk about this program in a bit. And so what you see here is that we have a Master of Science program, and we have 4 different concentrations: a biology concentration, biomedical sciences, microbiology, and paleontology. And this program allows the students to take courses within these particular areas, but also it's a research-focused program as well. In addition to that, the students gain a good amount of teaching experience, teaching specifically in our introductory courses, Biology 1, 2, and 3. And so it's a great way for students to look back on their introductory courses when they were undergraduate students, but now move on to the graduate level and be able to give back and help students that are coming up behind them. In addition to that, here's the Doctor of Philosophy of the PhD program. This PhD program is in conjunction with the Biomedical Sciences program at the College of Medicine. And so you must apply through the College of Medicine program at the medical school and then find or pair with an advisor in the biology department. So that gives pretty much a general overview of the department, some of the faculty, some of the research interests of the faculty, in addition to that, the courses and the teaching in the department. And if there are any questions, we would love to have you stop by, come by to, if you want to meet with a particular faculty, you can go to the departmental website on the ETSU webpage. And there you will find some additional information about specific research interests, as well as more information about the programs that I mentioned in this particular video. So again, thank you, and we would love to have you in our department.